Hi everyone, it's Jackie at Spare Room Studio. Today I'm going to do my completed pages for December 2024, and it was a big month for me. I managed to complete 45 pages. Not sure how I did it, but let's jump in and have a look at them. So I'm going to start with Mythographic Cosmic Spirit. This is not in the order that I coloured the pages, it's just the stack of books that I've got here. And Mythographic Cosmic Spirit is one of my favourite books. I like to use it for two hashtags. One is Colour the Tarot with Happy Catastrophe, Candace, and the other one is the Zodiac hashtag that Colouring with Kate runs each month. Now the name of it changes each month to reflect the star sign, and from November 21 to December 21 is Sagittarius, so we did Sagittarius this month. And Caitlin does this hashtag every month where she does a slideshow at the end of the month showing all the coloured pages. If you're interested, go check her out on Instagram. It's Colouring with Kate. If I remember, I'll put the hashtag and the name of her Instagram account in the description box. But I like to do those two themes. Astrology is something that I'm quite interested in, as is the art of the tarot cards. I don't read tarot cards. I don't actually own any tarot cards, but I like looking at the various artworks that you see on them, and this book is great for that. So this page is Sagittarius. I used Ohuhu alcohol markers, Prismacolor pencils, glaze pens, and metallic pens. And I'll see if I can get any of that to show on camera, because it's always very hard to get metallics and glaze pens to show the shine, but hopefully you could see that there. And I have used the alcohol marker as a base, and then I like to come over the top with Prismacolor or any coloured pencil that is suitable for what I want to use. And I like to layer up a little bit of extra coloured pencil for texture. I don't always blend it carefully. Sometimes I like it to just be quite rough to give that texture that alcohol markers sometimes can look very blended and smooth. So I like to do that. And I like to look up the star sign and find out what gemstones are suggested for that star sign and the colours and so on. So I've used the colours that are supposed to be suitable for Sagittarians, and that's the page that I did in there. These pages can be very tricky to work on, but very rewarding once they're coloured. So this is one of my favourite books. So that's Mythographic Cosmic Spirit by Fabiana Attanasio. Next, I want to show you Nice Little Town Collection by Tatiana Bergama-Stilova. This is one massive book. It's the books 4 to 11 all in one volume, and I love it, but I just don't colour in it as often as I should. And if you're not familiar with the channel, this is something that I do regularly, is I use these plastic document sleeves to protect my page, because I've got some old markers that yellow onto the adjoining pages, and this stops that yellowing from transferring. So this is a document protector. You usually have a white strip along this side with the holes for a ring binder. I just cut them off and then split it open so that it slides around the page. And I do that because one, it blocks that transfer of the yellowing perfectly, and it's less bulky than having sheets of copy paper in between your pages. So I recommend that if you've got markers that yellow, this is a good way to stop that transferring of the yellowing. So I'll just put that aside for now. So this particular page I used a combination of alcohol markers, coloured pencil and glaze pens. And again, at the beginning of the month I was very much interested in using up a lot of markers that I don't reach for very often. So what I have noticed is that I run the same colours out in all my marker sets, and then I have a group of markers that very rarely ever get touched, in particular some of these pinks. So I went for a very different colour scheme here, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't mind this too much. And then I used some glaze pens to add some added shine, which you can see on there, and just had a bit of fun with it. And I'm always really pleased to get back to some of these books that I've owned for a little while, that have been forgotten about because I bought too many new books this year. That's a whole other subject, but anyway, I do like to get some of these pages coloured. So there's that one, and I also coloured on this one. I haven't had a chance to do the plastic sleeve for this one yet, but if you're not familiar with alcohol markers and you're wondering what I'm on about, you might be able to see that there's some yellow here, and what that is there are some colours, particularly browns, oranges, yellows, some reds, and some markers even in the black does it. But you'll see that it lines up with some of those colours, and what happens is that yellow leaches out somehow and yellows onto the adjoining pages, and this is how quick it can happen. I had coloured on this page, closed the book overnight, and when I came back the next day it had already yellowed. So I don't know how long that happens for. I haven't done any tests, so if anyone can tell me if there's a point where it stops happening and it gets no more yellow, I'm not sure. But at the moment I've just got my copy paper that I had underneath protecting these ones, but I need to get some plastic for it. If you're not worried about your book or precious about your book, it doesn't really matter so much, but sometimes it will come right through this page as well, and that means that, you know, you can potentially ruin 2 pages, one either side of it, that you haven't even coloured yet, or if you have, you'll contaminate that page as well. So, you know, I would hope to maybe get to these pages eventually, so I'm going to put that plastic over and protect it. So getting back to the page, this one is coloured with alcohol markers, coloured pencils. I think it was Prismacolor primarily, and I've got metallic gel pen on there, so you might be able to see some shine from the gel pen. And then what I like to do with the alcohol markers on particularly these Amazon printed books, I like to lay the base of colour and then come back with the coloured pencil and build up a lot of texture, because alcohol markers can look very, very blended and flat, and sometimes your subject just warrants that little bit of extra detail, and other times I just like doing it because it's, you know, I find it fun to do it. So you can see the shine there with the metallic pen. And being steampunk, I decided to go for muted colours, and I like to try and have a go at doing metals that are rusted. So that's what I've attempted to do here, that they've used rusty old metal to build this contraption. And yeah, when it comes to the Amazon printed paper, I really do like to experiment with the different techniques and the different looks. And then once I've mastered it on an Amazon printed book, I'll take that into my better books. So I'll get in a little bit closer for that if I can. Hopefully this is going to focus better. So there you go, strange little mushroom steampunk house being flown by a mouse. So there you go, that's that one. I like this book a lot, and because I've got so distracted by buying so many other books, I don't get to it as often as I want to. And that's something that I might talk about in a reflections video. Okay, this is Colour Odyssey by Chris Garver. Chris Garver used to be a tattooist. I don't know if he still is. So this book is very much reminiscent of tattoo art. And I did this as a buddy colour with Coloured by Maya. And I haven't worked out yet how to put photographs and other things into my videos because I do very little editing. So I'm sorry, Maya. I'll put your links in the description box, and hopefully people will come and have a look at your video or your Instagram to see your version. I used acrylic paint marker, coloured pencil, and then lots of stickers and ephemera. So some of these things here are actually cardboard that I have glued on. We've got some stickers. These are all paper ephemera pieces, more stickers. And so I started with the base of acrylic paint marker, then I used some coloured pencil. I've got some gold Kuretake Genzai Tambi gold paint in there, and I just went for super colourful. I'm not quite sure how to approach this book yet. It's very much pattern orientated sort of doodle designs, and I don't really know how best to colour those things yet. So that's what I decided to do with this page, make it a really, you know, profuse collection of colour, explosion of colour. And yeah, so that's my version of this page in Colour Odyssey by Chris Garver. Next I'm going to go to Any Day, and this is a Winter Tales colouring book. And I didn't realise that there was quite so many Christmas related pictures in here. I thought it was just going to be purely winter related. So you can see again, I've got some yellowing there. I didn't realise I had used that particular marker there, so I need to get, oh yeah, it's gone through there. I'm going to have to get something on there as well. I have put one on that page. Okay, so alcohol marker base with coloured pencils over top. I'll zoom in for this one. Get in a little bit closer and see if we can get the light right. So I went for very bright colours on there. A bit of hot pink for Any Day. And then I also did this one here. Same thing, I think. It was alcohol marker base, yep, with coloured pencil. And I don't often work with very dark blues. I've noticed that that's something I don't do a lot of. So I might have to look at trying to incorporate some different colours into my work as a bit of a challenge to myself in the new year. And then the last one in this book, I had got some yellowing over here, so I didn't realise that other page had done it though. So alcohol marker base with some coloured pencil and a little bit of metallic on the present there, and little bits. So again, just trying to use up some of my different colours. Challenge myself to get out of the little comfortable rut that I've got myself in. This one is Yuri, and I've had this translate into a few different ways, but I had written in here Field Mouse Yuri's Travel Sketch, and it's Makiko Inatomi, if I'm pronouncing that correct. And I marked a couple of pages, but I think I only coloured the one. Yeah, I didn't get to that one. So I only coloured the one in this book. And I used Derwent Inktense base and then coloured pencils over the top and a little tiny bit of metallic. I think it's actually metallic pencil. So sorry, the light is quite bright today, so it's playing with the camera a bit. I always enjoy working in this book as well. I find that it takes a decent amount of water. They will always be wrinkly and crinkly because that's the nature of putting water onto paper that isn't watercolour paper, and that doesn't particularly faze me. But it takes a decent amount of water, so I do like to use the Inktense in here and then put some coloured pencil over the top for extra details. And when I use the Inktense, I tend to use it like watercolour. I hold the, pretend this is an Inktense, but I hold the Inktense pencil in my hand, and then I lift the colour off the brush like that with a water brush, and then paint like a watercolour. I try to get that effect, and then I'll either strengthen the colour up with an extra layer of Inktense, or I use the coloured pencil just to deepen some areas and put some sort of finer details back in. So that's Yuri. Next one is Brambley Hedge Festive Colouring Book, and this is by Jill Barklam. This is the only page I've got coloured in here so far. I had hoped to get more done in this book, but I ended up challenging myself to finish a book, and it reduced my colouring time in some other books. But I feel like some of these pages in this book aren't particularly Christmas related, like this one here where they're picking all the berries. That could be coloured at any time of the year, so hopefully I will get to this book really soon again. But this one I challenged myself to do Crayola pencils. I used pencils only because I tried a little bit of water-based something and it bled right through the paper. So I decided that because this is the sort of book that might be nice to colour the whole book one day, because it does tell a story, that perhaps pencils will be best in this particular book. And to make it harder on myself, I used Crayola pencil. But the Crayola pencils actually worked quite well in here, and I like the way that that has ended up. For a very cheap pencil, I don't mind some of the colours in the Crayola range, and you can get a decent depth of colour. The trick is to layer it with the Crayolas. I tend to go in too heavy and then can't layer any more on top of it. But if you do go into lighter layers, you can build your colour up and get some depth of colour. It depends whether you have the patience to be someone that layers, and these days I don't tend to be so patient to do that, but when I do, you can actually achieve a decent look with the Crayolas. So every now and again I challenge myself to do that. So that's Brambley Hedge Festive Colouring Book. This was a new book to me this month, and it is Leonards Holiday Magic Colouring Book. If you see any book on these completed pages videos that you would like to see a full flip through of, please let me know, because I hadn't seen this book too often. I really like Leonards' work a lot, and I just felt like I wanted something that was a bit of a less traditional take on Christmas than some other books. I live in Australia. I don't have a snowy Christmas, so I tend to enjoy these sorts of pictures that don't have any snow in them, because they're a bit more reflective of the type of Christmas that we have here. And particularly the dragon with the fire made me laugh, because it was extremely hot here on Christmas Day, so it seems kind of apt to do a dragon, really. So yeah, that page was water-based markers with coloured pencil. It is an Amazon printed style book. It wasn't printed by, oh yes it was, sorry, this one is an Amazon one. So Australian Amazon printed book. It's single-sided, so it allowed me to use my water-based markers and coloured pencil. And I love that super bright, saturated look. You know, it's a lot of fun. And then the next one that I did was Santa and the Elves having near disaster. And I really liked the humour of this one a lot. So the water-based markers, I used a lot of water on this one, probably a bit more than the first one. And then coloured pencil over the top. And then I used a metallic gel pen, Secura metallic gel pen, to go around the outside of the border here. So that's got a bit of shine to it. So that was a lot of fun. So this one is My Tiny Forest colouring book by Nina Stagner. I don't know the correct pronunciation of that name, I'm sorry, but by Nina. And I've gone in a little bit too far, that one. This paper again is Amazon printed, but it's a very thin paper. It's not as heavy as what we normally get here in Australia. And it goes very wrinkly with the water, but this particular style of illustration is very whimsical, suits watercolours perfectly. And I know people are going to tell me that I could photocopy this onto better paper, and I could, but personally I like to colour in books. That's why I buy books. So I put up with the wrinkly crinkly mess because that's just, you know, I consider a decent payoff for what I want to do. So I used water-based markers as a base, used some water on there, and then put some coloured pencil over the top. And I really like this style of illustration, very whimsical and perfect for watercolour style colouring. So you can see it bleeds through quite a bit, and this is just that little bit lighter than what I'm used to. So just the one in that book, but I think it was the only Christmas related one that I decided to get done. Now, late this month, like only recently, I received this book from Nicolette Delafray. Nicolette contacted me and asked me would I like to receive a copy of this book and colour it and give it a bit of a review, and I said yes please, because I do not own any books by Nicolette to this point in time, and I had seen some of these on Instagram and really loved this little fella. So I coloured this particular page on camera, so if you're interested in seeing how I did it and a flip through, there is a flip through of this book on my YouTube, and I show all the images, give a bit of a quick idea of what I think of it, and then coloured this one with alcohol markers with coloured pencil over the top and a bit of metallic jelly roll there. And this book is quite different to most of my other books. I tend to go for quite detailed books as a rule, and this is a really lovely book to have in the collection. If you're like me and you tend to do those very, very detailed ones, every now and again you want to do a quick book. This book's been designed to be able to get a quick win, you know, to be able to colour maybe in one sitting. So if you'd like to see a flip through of all the images, go check it out. But occasionally I do get to the point where mentally you have to put a lot of thought into some of the bigger complex designs, and I like to do a smaller page, but I don't necessarily want it to be too simple, and this is a nice compromise. There are some very simple designs and there are some that are small but still got quite a few details in them. So I think it's a great book to have in the collection for me, plus I think it would be a really handy book for travelling. And I also think that some of the pages here that have got open space will be great to colour when you've only got a short period of time available to you, and then come back later and maybe treat it as a collage page and stick things on, or possibly even alter it by drawing your own bits and pieces into it, or maybe treating it like a diary and colouring that and maybe doing some writing with it or whatever. Make it your own, but you can keep it as simple as you want or make it as complex as you want. So yeah, that's the page that I coloured on camera, and I'm looking forward to doing some more in this book. So thank you to Nicolette for providing this book to me. I really appreciate that a lot, and it is a really sweet little book. The subject is tea party, so there are some really pretty little images in there. So now I'm going to go back to R.J. Hampson. This is Christmas Tiny Homes. This has been out for a couple of years now, and I'm getting through this book and getting quite a few coloured now. This page is water-based markers with a little bit of coloured pencil. And very, very busy page. But it didn't really take too long because I used those water-based markers. It sped things up a lot and I put the water on it. So that's that one. And 3 Cranky Camels. This one made me laugh. The camels' expressions are funny. This one was water-based markers and coloured pencil. I used a lot of water, as you can see. Very, very crinkly. And I had a little bit of a play in the background here with the sky because, as I mentioned, I don't use dark blue an awful lot, and I found that quite overpowering. So then I had a little bit of a play with it with water to get some different effects. It lightened it off a little bit. I was able to, you know, lighten that area up quite a bit, putting some water over the top of it. I've got some gel pen and I've got some Wink of Stella. I don't know if the Wink of Stella is going to show up, but a little bit of glitter there for Wink of Stella. So that was Faber-Castell connector pens actually. And quite a traditional Christmas scene apart from the Cranky Camel's expressions. Sorry, I don't know why this is not focusing in too well today. No, it just doesn't want to focus, does it? Maybe too much going on in there. Okay, so that's Christmas Tiny Homes by R.J. Hampson. Also by R.J. Hampson, I did a page in Hide and Seek. And, oh, did I do that one this month? I can't remember. It's still marked, so I'm not sure if this was this month or not. I apologise. I think I did that one on, did I do that one on camera? I might have done a video of that one. Sorry, 45 pages means that I've forgotten a lot of what I did this month. So this one is Inktense, and gosh, this is really struggling today with the light. Just bear with me a moment. Let's see if this will help a little bit. Not sure. Inktense with Prismacolor and a little bit of metallic gel pen in places for some of the metal areas. So I always enjoy my R.J. Hampson books. This one is Derwent Inktense with coloured pencil and wrapping up for Christmas. Just trying to get this lighting to get right. That one was quite fun. Again, I tried to use it like a watercolour in the background of these houses here, very lightly. So the last one in this book is a buddy colour that I did with my friend Jackie on Instagram, and that is this page. This is the page in between the two sets of images. And I used water-based markers and coloured pencil for this one. So some areas I used the pencil quite heavily over the water-based marker, and then others I try to lighten the marker off and use a bit of pencil, just sort of trying to get a bit of variety in the different textures and so on. And I think I was trying to use the colour scheme off of the front cover, use that colour palette as a base, but I didn't really have exactly the same colours in this set of markers, but I quite like the way that turned out. Okay, so that's Hide and Seek, R.J. Hampson. We're getting close to the end now. Told you it would be a long one this time. So this is Rhapsody in Het Bos by Kanoko Agusa. And I did 2 pages in here. This one I did challenge myself again to do pencil only, and that is Crayola pencil. Even down to the metallic for the bell is the gold in the Crayola set. And I tried to keep it reasonably limited in the amount of colours that I chose. And I'm really quite happy with the way that one worked. This is a picture that I've wanted to colour for some time, and I just really, really enjoyed that one. This is a beautiful book. And then I did this page here because although it wasn't really Christmassy, it seemed quite good for Christmas time. For you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, it's perfect for your winter. But here in Australia, we're in the middle of summer. We definitely don't need jumpers at the moment or sweaters. We are having quite a warm summer. So that one is pigment markers that I used for the background, and it's just a cheap no-name brand from a department store. And I used the Artex pencils with that one. So what I'm finding with the Artex pencils is that the colour range is very similar to the Prismacolor, but the consistency of the pencil obviously is harder than a Prismacolor. But that turned out quite well as well. And then we have Kingdom of Curious Creatures, Kanoko Agusa. And I tried to get some of my Christmas pages done in non-Christmas books. So those books that only have 1 or 2 pages that refer to Christmas in them. I've tried to get some of those done. And I really liked this one as well. Inktense for a base, coloured pencils over top, and I've used some glaze pens on the snowflakes and some gold metallic pen as well. So I just had a play with that one, extending the pencil out to make it look more like a wreath than what it did prior to doing that. And just trying to go for some maybe traditional colours on the outside, but not so traditional for their little clothes and blankets and so on. So again, I went for the Inktense base and then tried to use the coloured pencils on top without going for a blended look. I was looking for some texture, and I'm just really playing with at the moment, trying not to over colour or labour over some pages and experiment more with these looser, more relaxed looking pages purposely, so that I don't spend so much time on the page and then I can get more pages done, because I will talk about it in another video coming up soon, but I've been struggling with the concept of owning too many colouring books recently, and I've just decided I want to get colouring pages. I don't want to be so precious about them that they're taking me too long to colour and I'm not getting through them. I actually want to burn through and get pages coloured. And that's a personal decision of mine. I'd like to be producing magnificent pieces of art every time I colour, but I'll explain it a little bit more when I do the reflections video, I think, in a colour and chat. So that's that page. Now, that's all the single pages. And one of the reasons I got so many pages done this month was that at the beginning of the month, I decided that I wanted to treat this book as an Advent book because it was 25 Days of Kindness colouring book, and it's Matchstick Mouse by Morgan O'Brien. And foolishly, I thought that because these are reasonably simple designs, you know, not all of them are simple, but a majority of them are quite simple designs with big open spaces, that I thought I could colour these pages pretty quickly, and that I'd be able to colour one of these and also colour my other books with the more detailed pages in tandem. And I quickly discovered that simple doesn't always mean quick, and it doesn't always mean easy. And I also discovered that I'm not good with repetition and continuity. Well, I kind of knew that, but it confirmed it for me. So Matchstick Mouse has not been coloured consistently through the whole book. She, you know, her outfit changes colour and she changes colour, and I just can't colour a book from front to back repetitiously like that. It's just something that I found to be not an enjoyable thing to do. So this book became a bit of a learning opportunity for me, but not so much in techniques, but in the way that I approach colouring and how I think about colouring. It cemented some ideas and it taught me a bit about myself. So I'll go through this very quickly because there is a full flip through on the channel if you'd like to see this in a bit more detail, but it's pretty much water-based markers or alcohol-based markers with coloured pencil, and then a bit of metallic pen or glaze pen. So I started on a random page to begin with, and then I thought to myself, well, hey, it's an Advent book, 25 days, let's colour it from front to back. And I went back to page 1 and started to colour these in order, and that's when I realised that that isn't necessarily how I want to approach my colouring. I'm better at jumping around and picking whatever takes my fancy on a given day. And so what ended up happening was, instead of colouring one of these every day, some days I missed the book completely because I'd had enough, and then on another day when I felt more inspired, I actually came and based maybe 3 or 4 pages in one go with markers, and then of an evening just sat and coloured the coloured pencil over top to finish them off. So, you know, deciding to start from front to back, page per day, in order, and one a day, I quickly fell in a big heap, and that didn't happen. But I did finish the book on Christmas Eve. So I technically succeeded in my little challenge to myself, but I just didn't manage it in the way that I thought I was going to carry it out. This page is a little bit different in that I had a paint splash here that I wanted to cover up, so I brought some more of that ephemera. This is a book that has paper cut out pages to cut out with lots of flowers. I've got, these are little cardboard ones, and I just decided that, you know, Matchstick Mouse probably would have a lot of insects around her for friends, seeing as she's got her worm friend. And that's how I covered up the paint splash. Now, had I not had so many other pages that I wanted to actually colour that were Christmas related this month, I could have taken that approach with the collage or altering pages to all of these, because there's so much white space around these Matchstick Mouse designs. It's you know, a circle in a small book. It's not quite A4 sized, I don't think. So there's a lot of white space and a bit of waste. Some people don't like that about these books, but they could be perfect books for altering by adding some of your own drawings in if you draw, putting some collage in, cutting and pasting stuff, or even it could have become a visual diary. This could have become, you know, something that you colour each day and then wrote a reflection of what happened on that day. So it became a bit of a memory book for, you know, Christmas 2024. So if you've got this book and you want to do that next year, maybe you could think about doing that. You could put some writing around it once you've coloured, and it becomes a keepsake book. Or Morgan has done a story with this particular book. You can buy the book with the story. Perhaps you could make your own story up about Matchstick Mouse, and you could write that in, and it could be something that you pass on to your kids or your grandchildren. So the scope for turning this into something much bigger is there if you want to, or if you just want to do simple colouring, you could do that as well. This is my favourite one in the book. This is the only one I think that I use the pigment marker on. Actually, no, it isn't. I did use pigment markers on another one as well, and then coloured pencil over top. This one I particularly like. It's not Christmassy at all, and went for some different colours, and I enjoyed colouring that one. That one was coloured on camera, I believe. If you have a look at the channel, I have tried to create some playlists and put things into playlists so that you can find them at a later date. And by this stage I was getting thoroughly sick of doing too much green and red, because I tend to think of traditional colours at Christmas. So I ended up with a blue cat with a purple mouse. And that's the end. So that was my colouring month. I think probably my Kanoko Agusa pages are my favourite pages. So this particular one I enjoyed. And I also enjoyed this one a lot. So the reindeer. So those two are favourites, and I quite enjoyed, for a bit of comedy, I enjoyed that one a lot as well. That one and that one. So what do you think? Is there anything there that takes your attention a little bit more than others? And how did you go with your Christmas colouring? I pretty much met my goals. The Matchstick Mouse did take me longer than I was thinking, so there was a few other pages in books like this that I'd hoped to get to, or I had hoped to get a few more done in this particular book. But, you know, this one's going to get put away for next year now. I don't tend to colour Christmas pictures when it's not Christmas, so these are all very Christmas related, obviously, holiday magic. If you want a flip through of that or anything else that you've seen on this particular video, do let me know. If there are any books there that are new to you and you'd like to have a look through them and see a flip through, I can do that for you. Most of them will be on YouTube somewhere on other channels, I would believe. But yeah, if you'd like to have a flip through with me with my thoughts, then let me know and I can do that for you. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you all very much for supporting the channel this year. I started the channel late March, and it has been a really big move out of my comfort zone, and you've all been very supportive to me, and I appreciate that an awful lot. I know you hear it said very often by YouTubers that they appreciate it, but we do. You know, for some of us, this is a very big step out of our comfort zone. Other people can do it more easily, but most of us do tend to struggle a little bit, and we have a lot to learn, some of us, especially us older people that haven't got a lot of experience with technology. So your support has always been greatly appreciated, and I do plan on doing a video where I share some of my reflections of this year, which I hope to get done in the next day or so, but obviously this time of year can be a little bit busy. And I will just talk about some of my reflections on the year that are relevant to me, and not necessarily in the form of the hashtag that's going around, because I don't have a lot of numbers and figures and stats to share with you. I just don't keep the records to be able to provide some of that information, but I will talk about as much of it as I can, and I'm not going to set a lot of goals for next year, but there are a few things that I've been thinking about that I'll have a little chat with you in a colour and chat style video. So thank you again. Thank you for watching this one. If you stuck it out with me, 45 minutes for a completed pages video is quite long enough for me. It's about a minute per page on average. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing these pages. An awful lot of Christmas related, but as I've just mentioned, I do not colour Christmas pages at any other time of the year, unless of course there might be a Christmas in July hashtag that I want to do 1 or 2 pages for, but my majority of Christmas coloured related colouring is only at Christmas in December. So some of these books that are specifically Christmas will get put away, and then these other ones like the Kanoko Agusa, Yuri and so on, I hope to colour in a lot more again this year, because I really do love these books. They're nice quality books, and I want to get back to some of the older ones that have been put aside because I've been buying too many new ones recently. Take care, everyone. I hope your New Year's Eve is a safe one, that you have fun celebrating if you celebrate. If you don't, like my husband and I, we tend to have very quiet New Year's Eve. But however you spend New Year's Eve, I hope it is safe and happy. And I really look forward to seeing you in 2025. Take care, everyone. Bye now.